What's up, DynastyLand? We are looking at your Dynasty football trades on today's video.
That's
Some
right.
of you guys have been whipping up deals as we're getting closer and closer to the season. So we're going to look at the trades that you guys have made, give our opinions on them, and, where we stand.
Yeah.
So the first deal is from Ignite. The context of this deal says, just made this deal in a 12-team, one quarterback PPR league. After the Kareem Hunt signing, I felt pretty confident. Oh, we haven't done this video for about 2 weeks. And Kareem Hunt hasn't signed anywhere. So that was during the time where everyone thought Hunt was signing with the Saints, I believe.
Yes.
He says, and I have Stroud to stack with Dell. So let's look at the deal. Gets Cam Akers and Tank Dell, sends away Tyler Higbee, Kendre Miller, and a second-round pick. I see this very evenly myself. I'm not sure where you stand, but I prefer Kendre over Tank. But then I think Cam Akers is equal to a second round value. So I think I'm probably going with the Kendre Miller side myself. I still am betting on Kendre in my leagues long term. Don't have high expectations for him this year, but I do believe he's still going to be someone who can handle the bulk of the touches in this backfield, let's say in 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, this one's a little bit interesting, just purely based off of how you value Cam Akers, right? And I think if you believe someone like Cam Akers can really take off, I think that is pretty significant. I would say this. I think it is an even trade. I say this is a toss-up here in my eyes. If I had to choose one today, I'm going with the 24 first and Kendre just purely based off the second, just purely based off of, because I think Kendre and Cam Akers are pretty even value, but I see it as I'm getting a whole round earlier versus where Tank was going in your rookie drafts, where he was going in the third, even fourth round, depending on when you drafted your rookie drafts. So I am going to go Kendre in the 24 first, but I think this is significantly closer than we all really think.
Yeah, I don't think it's anyone's been screwed over at all.
Yeah.
All right, Crime Lord says, shout out to Zach for helping with this one. 12-team Superflex 1.5 titan premium, had Dalvin in a non-contending roster and didn't know what to do with him. And this is what Zach helped me come up with. My Titan 1 was Chig, so it was a nice upgrade. Okay, so this is a Titan premium, by the way, 1.5 Titan premium.
Oh, wow.
So he gets Evan Ingram, and he sends away Dalvin Cook.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is a deal that me and Ethan were talking about in the Fantasy Hotline, which is a advantage of supporting us on the Flock Fantasy website with our code LAND. But we whipped up this deal together. I gave him a bunch of options to try and ordered them in my preference. And Evan Ingram was my first preference, especially in a tight end premium format where Evan Ingram just signs a multi-year contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Had a great year last year, connected to a quarterback we love. And then Dalvin Cook, what is his true upside with Breece Hall there and signing a one-year deal? It seems like the beginning of the end here in the next couple of years for Dalvin, where I don't see that for Ingram. I think he's going to be on a lot of championship winning rosters in tight end premium formats.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, finished tight end 5 this past year for Evan Ingram. So I think this is a perfect trade for you.
Yeah, big fan of it. By the way, guys, if you want your trades on this show, it's actually super simple. If you want us to look at your trades, if you want access to the fantasy hotline Crime Lord has, then use our code LAND when signing up to the Flock Fantasy website. There is a link, a link in the pinned comments. When you sign up, choose a Mother Flocker tier, DM us a screenshot, we'll get you all set up. Okay, the next trade is from Coach. He says, got bottom, first year Dynasty, 1 quarterback start, 8. Confident this is a competing team in year 1. So also confident the pick swap is advantaging my side. I had great depth at wide receiver and lots of 2023 tier 2 guys, but no constant week winner in such a shallow league. Wide receiver core is now Kupp, Waddle, Olave, Ridley, Dotson off the bench to sub during the bye week. So he gets, I believe he gets Cooper Kupp.
He gets the Cooper Kupp side.
And a second. Sends away Drake and a second. So we'll have to see where those seconds end up being. But essentially it's Drake London for Cooper Kupp. Now, the context is important here because I think Badaki would instantly say, and I would instantly say, give me Drake London.
Absolutely.
But the context, does that change anything for you? It's a start 8. So Cooper Kupp is going to help people win more leagues this year than Drake London, but long term, it's going to look like, a bad deal pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think even with the start 8, what's that? 3 wide receivers in a flex in a basic league. He has Waddle, Olave, really Dotson. I think I just want to keep Drake London. I know you probably, trying to compete in the 1 year, but I mean, if everything does go well, you probably didn't even have to do this trade, and you still have the younger wide receiver in Drake London, right? That's a big hypothetical because you do have. I would say we're pretty confident saying all those 4 wide receivers in Waddle, Olave, really, and Dotson could potentially be league winners coming into this at the end of this year, and you probably didn't even have to do that trade for Cooper Kupp, who was past 30 years old. And what happens if Matthew Stafford is no longer on this team? Where Drake London is, going into his second, third year into the league now, and he still has so much more to prove, especially with obviously question marks at quarterback. But if Desmond Ridder remotely puts him in the top 20. I mean, I think you would have wished you would have kept Drake London there. So this one's tough. I think I still go Drake London, even though with the context of a start 8, because of how confident I believe in Waddle, Olave, really, and Dotson, and just would have kept London.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, it doesn't feel like you necessarily needed to make this move right now. Maybe if you're in season and like Waddle gets injured or something.
Exactly.
But in a start 8, you're gonna have a quarterback, 2 running backs. Maybe 3 wide receivers. That's 6. A tight end is 7, and a flex. So yeah, you could have started all those wide receivers. I would prefer the London side, but that's just my personal opinion. What's up, James? 12-team Superflex, PPR. Running backs are Bijan, Connor, Charbonnet, Mostert. Attempting to rebuild for next year and believe Williams will rebound from the injury and get re-signed for a Miles Sanders Swift type of contract.
Right.
The 21st given up is projected late. And the 24 is projected high. So he gets Javonte Williams and a 2nd-round pick, sends away David Montgomery, a 3rd and a 1st. Okay, so
I mean,
where do you sit on this? This is tough because I feel like giving away the 1st, it's really tough to give away a 1st.
Yeah.
I know he's saying he's projecting for it to be late.
I think I still want that late 1st. As much as I love Javonte and I am believing in the bounce back, I'm getting the 1st in Monty, which we've saw this past year, and we saw how Jamal Williams played. Yes, Jahmyr Gibbs may be the lead back, but I'm really still projecting, 40, I mean, even generously 50% of the workload for Monty, at least for this year. And that 24 1st, if it's not late, or even if it is late, I think it's exactly where is equivalent for what Javonte Williams is if he is healthy, right?
It's worth, right.
Exactly. So I'm okay. I'm okay with going. I think the Monty side wins this trade personally.
I would say it depends on where those picks fall, because if that's truly like the 112 and then that 2nd-round pick is like the 202, then you pretty easily win this trade, right? And that's the context that he's presenting us, is that he thinks the 24 1st will be late because a guy came in 2nd last year, and the 2nd is high from a team that finished bottom 4.
Yeah.
So if that is the scenario, it's the 111, 112, and you end up having the 201, the 203, the 202, then yeah, I'm super happy with this deal. On the flip side, things don't always go the way we think they will. Injuries happen. So if that 24 1st actually ends up being, let's say, like the 104, you definitely will regret this deal.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm pretty fine with it if it pans out the way you've actually said that it would pan out.
Exactly.
So that's going to be the important part. But there's a lot of risk there. I hope it's worth it. The only thing is, I feel like Montgomery is going to give you good RB2 production for a couple years, and I don't feel like if I had Monty, I would need to upgrade. Like if that was like a Jerick McKinnon, for example, I know different values and everything, but I felt like he still could have been valuable for your team. But I think it could work out. 7 Goats is back. 12 teams, start 11, full PPR. Those seconds are both projected early, but I'll buy up Lance for 1 second. I wonder how he feels about it today. We heard today that Trey Lance is a 3rd string, and they're going to look at trading him. But let's see. So he gets Jeff Wilson, Kenneth Gainwell, Trey Lance, and a 3rd. Sends away Gibson and 2 2nd-round picks. I think there's relatively even risk all around this deal.
I think so as well. I mean, I don't really see for Seven Goat's side. Oh man, it is relatively even risk. I just don't want Jeff Wilson. Like could Jeff Wilson
Yeah.
have been anyone else? I mean, if you think at the running back position, could Jeff Wilson have been, I don't know, an Elijah Mitchell, a Jalen Warren, a Brian Robinson. I don't know if I want someone like a Jeff Wilson coming back to me, especially with all the talks of, whether you're a Devon believer, whether you believe that JT is coming or even Kareem Hunt or somebody else, that value is going to drop. I believe some point in time in this season. We just don't know who that's going to be. And if not, then that's fine. I mean, even Rashad Penny. Do you want, can I get a Rashad Penny back? Can I get somebody else? But other than that, I do believe is pretty even. Just don't want Jeff Wilson. I'm happy to take a chance on Kenneth Gainwell, though.
The only way you remotely win this deal is if Trey Lance starts somewhere. That's it.
Oh, 100%.
Like, if Trey Lance doesn't start anywhere, 100% you lose this deal. So there's risk reward, but there's a lot of risk there with Trey Lance being so uncertain.
Yeah.
What's up, Wade Murder? He says 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 8, tiered PPR. So 1.5 for running backs, 1.5 for tight ends. This is a team that you guys gave a roster review for, and I made a couple moves since, mainly 3 since the review. The first in the deals are projected mid to late. But my quarterback is Deshaun. My running back room is James Conner, Charbonnet, now Javonte Williams. And now my wide receiver room is Drake London, JSN, Quentin Johnson, Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks, Elijah Moore, Deontay Johnson. With Pitts and Chig as my tight ends, I doubt I can compete, but perhaps one once my wide receivers mature. Should I be dealing Connor in season? Okay, so he gets James Conner, Kyle Pitts, Quentin Johnston, sends away Jahmyr Gibbs in a first-round pick. This is a 1.5 tight end premium format. We have to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. But 1.5 for the running back as well.
That's true. 1.5 for the running back as well.
Okay. And his other tight end, if he did not acquire Kyle Pitts, would have been Chig.
Yes, which you feel like is a fun player to have on your roster, but not 100% sure how reliable he's going to be.
Yeah. Look, I'm okay with this trade. I'm still believing and hoping that Kyle Pitts is going to be this guy, especially with Desmond. And I really believe in Quentin Johnston. The person I don't love is James Conner. I feel like that is a significant tier down in a dynasty perspective. But obviously you're getting other value somewhere else. And also, where is that 24 first projected? I'm assuming this is not your first. This is somebody else's first. It looks like, if this is not your team name, potentially.
I will say, I feel like in a start 8, I would give the advantage to the tight end position. Truly getting an elite guy at the tight end position. I know Kyle Pitts isn't elite yet, but we project him to be, all signs athletically and, what he's done historically through the first 2 years. I think I lean the Pitts side here, but it's very close. And I feel like Connor's like that insurance where it's like, hey, you lost Gibbs, which is going to be really tough to watch because he's going to be great, but at least you still have someone you can start in a start 8,
And it makes sense. It makes sense, but I think what's so important here is the 1.5, I guess, premium
for
the running back, and then how, I guess, the significant age difference. It
definitely makes it more difficult.
In Jahmyr Gibbs, so yeah.
It definitely makes it more difficult. That's a really tough one there. I actually don't know who won that trade. Second one is Devontae Adams, Drake London for T. Higgins and a first-round pick.
25 first.
Again, in a start 8, I'm fine with this. Very fine with this. I understand Devontae Adams is older, but in a start 8, get those elite guys on your roster putting points up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with getting Drake London there and Adams.
And the next deal looks like Deontay Johnson, Javonte Williams. He sends away Devontae Adams and Josh Downs. I feel like you win this deal.
You tear up at the running back position, which is
Javonte
great.
Williams. You lost Jahmyr Gibbs, but at least you were able to replace him with a top 15 running back in Dynasty.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, you still have a great wide receiver room. I'm happy to trade away Devontae Adams, especially. I mean, not that he's washed, but he's getting older. What that quarterback situation going to look like, especially with this wide receiver room that you have: London, Jason, Quentin, Jahan, Treylon, Moore, Deontay now. So I'm okay with that trade.
Yeah, agreed. And that is it for Win Murder. So, I mean, honestly, Win Murder, like, these are all hard, fair deals with compromise on both ends.
Yeah.
With compromise on both ends. Styles says 12 team Superflex PPR 1.5 Titan Premium Start 11 Blockbuster.
Here we go.
While dealing Amon-Ra is rough, I'm in a full rebuild, minimum 2 years, and have exciting future pieces after this deal. I now have 6 firsts next year and 2 in 25. My current core is Herbert, Pitts, Quentin Johnston, and other pieces like Elijah and Love, who I may trade down the line, hoping to land the 101 next year. He says, roast me. Okay, so he gets
the bottom.
Kyle Pitts, Tank Dell, a first-round pick in Rakim Jarrett. He sends away Rashawn Johnson, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, David Njoku, Amon-Ra, and a third.
Okay.
Let's actually look at the pieces that are valuable here. Rakim Jarrett means nothing.
Agreed.
Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and the third-round pick, with all due respect, likely will not have an impact on who wins a league or who doesn't win a league.
Agreed.
And maybe they're starting options, maybe they're not. Most likely not.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really looking at Rashawn Johnson, Njoku, Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Kyle Pitts, Tank Dell, and a first.
I mean,
is this a tight end premium? Because that would change everything for me.
He doesn't say it's a tight end premium. I don't think it's a tight end premium, but he gets the 24 first, which he's hoping he gets close to a top 3. I'm interested to know who. So it says Quentin and other pieces like Elijah Moore, who I may trade. I'm interested to know who his true wide receiver 1 is, because I'm assuming Amon-Ra is your wide receiver 1. It could be your wide receiver 2. So you're trading away your wide receiver 1 in hopes for a top 3 pick. I'm assuming maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr. and you get Kyle Pitts, but Tank Dell. I think we're leaning too much maybe on Tank and what we're seeing. I don't know. I think this one's also pretty. You think of Amon-Ra in that 24 first. You think of David Njoku and Kyle Pitts. The talent and the profile of Kyle Pitts is significantly better, but how true of a difference is that when we really think about it? And then Tank Dell for Roscoe, right?
I think this all comes down to if it's a tight end premium or not. If it's not a tight end premium, I love Kyle Pitts, and he's still my tight end 1 in Dynasty. And I understand the move because it doesn't sound like he wants to win right now. So like the move can make sense. But just from like a value perspective, I probably would lean the Amon-Ra side.
Yeah.
Because you still get a starting tight end in Njoku, who isn't too old. It's just, Kyle Pitts hasn't broken out yet. We haven't seen the tight end 1 season yet. If that happens soon, you won't regret it. But I just think if it's not a tight end premium, I think there's more value with the Amon-Ra side.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and it's tough to say. And also, if that 24 first is nowhere near the top 3, it looks like.
That's true. That needs to be at least mid.
It has to be. It has to be at least mid.
It cannot be late. You lose that deal.
You lose a deal, exactly. So I think you got to wait and see what that looks like, Styles. But hoping for the best there.
Yeah. Okay, so the other offer, or the other trade here, Lazy Bones, 12-team, 1 quarterback, PPR start, 8 wide receiver room is Judy, Ridley, Pittman, Juju, Josh Downs, and Puka. He gets Jahan Dotson, sends away DJ Moore. Beautiful. Love it. Give me Jahan Dotson over DJ Moore.
I agree.
I still like DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And I have DJ ranked higher in redraft. But in a dynasty perspective, I will take the youth and the unknown side of Jahan Dotson. I know DJ Moore entering a new team, new quarterback, new system, so he could absolutely still pay off, but you're getting a wide receiver who I believe is just as talented and is about 3 years younger.
Completely agree. I love Jahan. I do have him higher in my dynasty rankings. I would say this DJ Moore, I think, could have a year with Justin Fields, and if he does have that year, his value is going to rise significantly. Both of these guys' value is going to rise significantly, especially what we saw with Jahan Dotson in preseason. So and Sam Howell. So I like this trade. I think it's an even trade in my opinion.
All right, next one from Crime Lord, 12-team Superflex. I'm a huge Tua believer. What do you think? Quarterbacks are Fields and Tua now. It's Superflex league. He gets Tua. He sends away Dak in a second.
Dak in a second.
Dak and a second.
I know.
I feel like Dak and Tua are like evenly valued.
Exactly. I mean, Dak in a second, purely based off value, I feel like Dak in the second wins it here. I'd rather have Tua long term. Personally, I really believe in him. I'm just like you. I think he's going to get this contract extension. He has Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. This team is going to get better. Hypothetically, Jonathan Taylor, if that trade and the rumors and all that nonsense is really true, that could be a crazy team. But Dak in a second, I don't know if I can do Dak in a second.
Here's how we have to think about this. No one's accepting if it's Dak in a third, right? So Dak in a second.
It could have been like Dak and somebody, like Dak and a player.
Yeah.
I think the second, because that second could be top 5. No, that second could be top 6. And I'd still rather have Dak in that top 6.
I know. It really depends. Like, if that ends up being the 210, then I don't think I would even think about it. Give me Tua.
Yeah, 100%. 1,000%.
So that's a tough one. It's really going to depend on where that second round pick ends up. But, like, I do think that you are upgrading long term. And I don't think you're paying, like, a price that will hurt your team drastically. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I'm actually kind of okay with it myself. But I really don't want that to be like the 204 to the 201.
Yeah.
That would
be frustrating. Wrong. Yeah, I would agree.
7 goats, 12 team, full PPR, start 11, no tight end premium. Quarterbacks are Hurts, Jackson, Goff, Tanny. 2 of those seconds are 201 to 203, and the first is mid to late. I now have 5 seconds, 4 projected to be in the top 6. I wanted to stack Jackson and Andrews. How are we feeling on this one? Okay, so he gets Lamar Jackson, Antonio Gibson, and 3 second-round picks. He sends Deshaun Watson, Devonta Smith, and a first-round pick. I
mean,
what do you think about this? This feels like a mighty price to pay.
Yeah, and for me, I'm taking the Deshaun Watson side. I'm a massive believer in Deshaun Watson. Been a top 5 quarterback outside his rookie and this past year. Devonta Smith with Jalen Hurts, the future is bright over there. Finishes a top 10 wide receiver, and he gets a 24 first for the Kogan guy. I mean, I'd rather take Watson, Smith, and the first person. Antonio Gibson is not the long-term answer in Washington, and you're getting 3 seconds here. I know you're saying projected within the top 6, essentially for Devonta Smith. I mean, or the 24
I feel like
first.
The Devonta Smith is the overkill part for me, because if it was like Watson a first, for Lamar and like Gibson, for example, that would be easier to stomach, because it's like, okay, I know I have a more secure quarterback with potentially a higher ceiling. We don't know that because we haven't seen Deshaun Watson in a full year, but I feel like Smith is undervalued here a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially finishing top 10 last year in his second season in the NFL. I understand wanting to stack Andrews, but I think we might have paid too high of a price, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
All right, 2 trades left. Foxtrot trade. What's
Here
up,
we go.
Levy Bills, by the way. You might have changed your name, but this might be the first time you've used the Dynasty Trade Show. Love that. Drake London, second and a first for Amon-Ra and a third. I'll definitely take the Drake London side.
Agreed.
Love Amon-Ra, but I'm going to take Drake London a first and a second.
Absolutely, every single day. Don't overthink it. I mean, still, love Amon-Ra, but I'll take the first.
Yeah, don't need to overthink that one. Goat Reads, 10-team, full PPR, start 11, tight end premium. Feels a little late on Ridley, but getting Schultz for Juju, I'll take all day, and he's rebuilding. So he gets Dalton Schultz, Tank Dell, a second, a third, sends away Juju and Calvin. And in a 1.5 tight end premium, I think this is pretty even value. I don't hate it. I just prefer. I think Calvin Ridley is the best player in the deal, and that's the side I would want.
I agree,
essentially.
And it's 0.5 tight end premium. You know, when I think of that, I just don't see that being a significant difference
for Schultz.
For Schultz there personally. So I'd rather have the Calvin Ridley side long term. And what happens if Schultz is not successful in Houston? And I think Calvin Ridley's value at the end of this year is going to be significantly more than everyone in this deal. So potentially.
Agreed.
Potentially. We'll see.
All right, guys, if you want your trades on our weekly Dynasty show, it's quite simple. Check out the pinned comment with the direct link to sign up to the Flock Fantasy website. Make sure you're using our code LAND. choose a Mother Flocker tier, DM us, and you'll be on our trade show this time next week. You'll also have access to the fantasy hotline where you can ask us questions. You'll get access to a Dynasty roster review and more. Enjoy the rest of your day, drop a like, and we'll see you soon. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.